Hi everyone. So in this we are going to see how to configure a DHCP server using a helper address. Already we have discussed that how to configure DHCP on router. That means the router can act DHCP server. When I say DHCP server means it has a capability to assign the IP address dynamically. So if you see in this particular topology, we have two networks attached to the router, and the routers are allocating the dynamic IPs when any of the workstations become the part of this network. Now, in this experiment, in the Cisco packet tracer exercise, we are going to make a separate server as a DHCP server. So now this server is basically allocating the IP addresses dynamically. So we'll see how this can be done. So let's move to the Cisco packet tracer. Okay. So also you can see that in this requirement, what we are doing, we are having three networks we have used here. One is 192.168.10.0, 20 and 10.0.01. In all the network, we are assigning the very first IP to the router. So in this, that means that this IP is 10.0.0.1. This is 192.168.20.1, and similarly we have 192.168.10.1 is assigned to the router. And the server IP we are giving as 10.0.0.2. So we keep this information in mind, and then we will design our topology. Okay, so already I have kept some information onto the workspace. So some of the command that we are going to use to configure the router, I have already written here, so that if you are doing along with this video, then you can just go through the commands which are required. So I have just mentioned the required command here. So let us quickly design our topology. So we need one router. Okay, so I'll take this and then I need to take two switches as well. Okay, so we'll take this 2960 and again, and then this will connect to two PCs. Let's say this connect to one laptop. And then this router is going to connect with one server. Okay, so we'll take like this, and also we can use this connection cable, automatic connection cable, that will take care of the type of connection. So we'll use this. So the benefit of using this kind of cable, that we don't need to worry that which kind of cable will be used for a different set of devices. This is done. So you can just realize that this is a one network. This is one network, and okay, so we can also uh, make a boundary to represent that this is one network. This is one network. Okay, then let us also specify that this is the network we are using, means this is the block that we represent for this network, and this is the range that we represent for this block. Okay, and this is for this one. Fine. So now we start doing a configuration. So here, to the router, we will give the very first address of every block or every network. That means if we look at to this will be 192.168.10.1. So the very first thing is, let us configure our server, which we want to treat as a DHCP server. So we'll go here, and then we can go to configuration, and server basically keeps the static IP So we'll give here, and this is 10.0.0.2, and subnet mask we are using here is 25.0.0.0. Default gateway is the IP of this router that connects to the server, so which is 10.0.0.1. Okay, and what else? Okay, then go to services, and then we have to go to DHCP, and we have to keep this on. Now, because we are going to make this as a DHCP server, so here we have to give a pool of addresses that is used to assign to this network. So let's say we give the range from 10.3 to so actually if you look at this, this is a kind of a class C, if you can see here, where 20, 255, 255, 255. That means this network can have almost 2 to the power 8 addresses in this block. So we want to provide that this network can add 20 workstations. Similarly, we can also want that this network can add 20 workstations. So we'll assign the pool of addresses for this block to and we will set this configuration onto the server. So we'll make, let's say this is pool one, and for if I talk about this, so in this the default gateway is this one, uh, 192.168.20.1, and the starting IP address for this block is 192.168, because already we have used 20.1 is given to this particular interface of the router. So we will start from, let's say, 20.3, and subnet mask we have used is 255, 255, 255.0, and we want to give let's say 20 IPs we want to allocate to this pool one. So actually what we are doing, we are giving a pool of addresses that can be assigned to this block. Okay, then we add this. Okay, so let's see what is happening here. Okay, so we have seen that pool one is already been added, this range. So now similarly we can add one more. So we will be keeping with the name pool 2, and here it will start with 10.1, and we'll start with 10.3. So actually what we are doing, we are now assigning a pool of addresses for this block. So we are saying that from 10.3 up to next 20 addresses will be assigned to this block if any workstation is added in this block. So the subnet marks remain the same, and maximum number of users is 20. Okay, okay, then save. So we can see here that two pools must be added. Oh, this is actually overwritten, so we have to do it again. So let us click on add. Mm, we have to click here, we have to write one here, and then we have to actually click on add. What we did is we have just updated the thing and click on save. So the previous one was just overwritten. So carefully, this is pool 2. Now we will go for pool 1, and we will just make the changes here, 20.1, and this is 20.3, and the other thing remain the same. And now we have to click on add. So you can see that now we have two poles of addresses, and you can see the range. Fine. This is done. And okay, close this. Now we have to do some configuration or setting at the router. Now, if you look to the PC this time, is it still ready to provide the dynamic IP? We can go here, and if we go to desktop, and if you go here and if you look for the DHCP, it will it will checking for the dynamic IP, but it says it is failed because still we have not configured our server. So a PIPA is used. Basically, this is automatic private IP assignment is given. So actually, in the Windows operating systems, whenever any machine becomes a part of any network, then if the DHCP server is not configured, then it will give one IP which is in the range of which actually belongs to the class 169.254. So this IP is basically used for local communication. Local communication means if something to be delivered from this machine to other network, then this IP is not going to work. So for that we need to have at least a private IP, means from the block of the private IP which have been defined for the communication. So here the DHCP is not configured yet. So now we'll go and uh, configure this router. So we'll go to the command line, okay, and then you can just enable it and write configure terminal. And now we have to, so we will start with this particular block. So this is now before that we have to check that what are the interfaces we are using. So this is gig 01, this is gig 000. So we'll go for gig 01, okay. So we'll go here and we write here interface gig 01, and the range of IP addresses that is assigned here. So IP address. So we have to write what block we have used. So for this particular uh, interface, we have connected this block. So we have to write this block information, which is 192.168.10. Dot now. Here you have to write that what actually the IP has been assigned to this interface, which is 1, and the prefix, or you can say the mask which we have used is 255.255.255.0. Done. And then also we have to write no shutdown. That means we are keeping it up. We are actually keeping it on. Okay. So it is done. It is said that the state is changed to up. Now we will be uh, doing for 00, and here we will use IP address range is 20.1, and this is the subnet mask, okay. And then again we will do no shutdown. This is done. So we have just configured. That means we have shown how it is connected to this network, and also will do for this as well. So we'll go here and then we'll do the same thing. So we have to say, now before that we need to see what is the interface here we have used. This is Giga02. So you can write here, and we have used IP addresses of the class 10.0.0.1, and the subnet mask is 255.0.0.0, and then no shutdown. Okay, so you can now see the status. You can write here show IP interface, this command. So you can see here that now all the interfaces are actually up, they are working. So you can see these are the ports which are assigned and along with the IP addresses and the status. Okay, so far good. Now the last thing remaining is to enable this server to be able to allocate the dynamic IPs to the workstation. So if we still check one thing, if I go here, if I go that are we able to get the dynamic IP? So let us see what is happening. And it is say that DHCP failed. That means it still is not properly configured. Okay, so one thing is remaining still. So we'll go here and then we will be writing the last command which is required to make it active. So we'll write here configure terminal, and then we are going to use this command uh, IP helper address. So means we have to actually associate uh, every network in such a way so that the request will go to this server to fetch the dynamic IP. So how to do this? We will write here mm, interface. So we have to do it for every. This is interface. Let us check here. This is interface 02. This is 00, and this is 01. Okay. So first we go for 02 interface gig 02, and then we have to write IP helper address, and here you have to write the IP of our server, which is 10.0.0.2. Done. The same thing we will do for other interface as well. So this is 0 to 1. Okay, and the last is for 00. Okay, so we are done. So what is left? So we can just uh, exit. You can also write do w press Control Z. This is not the command which you're looking for. You can write here okay, exit, and now you can write do rw. So wr, write wr, not do. Okay, so this is done, and now we'll see what is the impact of writing this command. Is it really configured or not? So we'll go here and then check the status. So we can see that now it's working. The DHCP request has been means we are able to get the dynamic IP to this machine. Okay, we will go here and then we'll see the status. So you can just refresh and check the request has been successful. Okay, and now if we look here and check, go to desktop, go to IP configuration and look for the DHCP, and we are able to get the IP from this block. So we have seen that now it is properly configured and the dynamic IP has been allocated to all these workstation which is in this network. Also, to ensure that all the connections are working correctly, you can just run the ping command and see that connectivity is possible or not. That is it possible to reach from this machine on this network to this. Okay, so we'll write a ping command. So here we have seen that what is the IP here. So the IP here is 168.10.3. So we'll just write 10.3 here. Means if we write the ping command here, ping 192.168.10, 192.10.3. So we get the proper reply. That means we are able to connect from this particular machine to here. So we can see that the reply is received with this ping request. Even if you want to check, you can also check IP config to see what is the IP address is assigned here. So for this machine, it is assigned 192.168.20.4, which is the actual address from this block, because the network address for the block is 192.168.20.0. So we are able to configure the DHCP server successfully. And so if you want to just check how to configure the DHCP on the router, then you can see the link which I have given in this video. Thank you.